Welcome back to my channel, everyone. In this video I'll be painting Fulgrim. So I sub-assembled the model and I base coated, well undercoated, the different parts. So the fleshy areas like this tail will be white, and then the gold areas will be brown. And this is just from a rattle can. It's from Vallejo. It looks like Mournfang brown. This type of color seemed perfect. So I used copper first from Green Stuff World. It's a pigment, and you just mix it with some thinner or some pigment fixer. And I found pigment fixer actually works much better, providing you don't add too much or too little. It's got to be a nice milky consistency. I just mixed that up, and I just covered the whole model with it. Well, not the whole model, all the brown areas. And just make sure it's very smooth, and once it starts drying, because it does dry pretty fast, you can just add a bit more of the pigment fixer to it and it should be fine. And you have a really nice shine to it. It's very reflective. I really think it's amazing. I'm definitely going to use copper more often. Then I'm using gold, again with pigment fixer, and I just thin that just like before, milky consistency. But this time I kind of dry brush it. So what I do, I get it on my brush, and then I use a tissue, wipe it off, and then just dry brush from above. And I focus on areas where the sun would be, or the light source would be catching it. I still want to see the copper from below. As you can see, there's like a tint of copper in it. I think it's a nice effect. I use gloss varnish with an airbrush, or if you don't have that, you can use this kind of spray can semi-gloss or gloss varnish just to go over all the gold areas, so it just keeps it there, it doesn't rub off, and yeah, the finish is great. It's still shiny, and it's perfect for if you want to add like oils or inks on top of it. So for the tail, Pterodon turquoise, I just go over the whole tail with it. I was a bit careful in the beginning, but then after a while I just realized I'm going to be airbrushing a lot, so I just went a bit crazy. Apart from the areas that will be brighter later. And don't forget this part here on the armor. It's got some fleshy parts. So I blue tacked it on just to make it easier as well. So I used Liquitex ink, Deep Violet. And I started playing around with it on the front. And then I kind of liked it, but I felt the back was a bit too plain, like the back of the tail. So what I started to do is airbrush from an angle just to catch the raised area, and I really like the effect. So here I'm just focusing on the front. I now use coal black. It's a greeny black and it's fantastic. I really love using it for lots of types of materials. For this though, I'm using it for his backside and also like the top of his tail. I'm kind of spraying again from above, like I'm just catching the top of the tail, and I'm trying to keep the bottom part more purple. I also pick out the flesh that's above on the armor plate. I found this purple grey from Zero Pop Color, the brand is, and it's from a local hobby shop, and I thought, oh, it's quite nice, let's try it out. I think it seemed very thin, and I was a bit worried it would just splatter everywhere, but it was a joy to work with. It's going on really smoothly, there's no thinning required, and I just love the way the transition between the dark purple and this lighter purple. I'm really enjoying it. I'm definitely going to be buying more of these paints in the future. And this is how it looks. I kept the belly like a bit lighter, or where it curves, just to show there's some thinning of the skin. I still had some in my airbrush, so I just added some titanium white ink, and I just focused that on the actual bend itself, just to add a bit more definition. And then I also sprayed in the open wound, because later on I'll be using some contrast paints. to highlight that and color it in. I also sprayed from below, but you probably won't see most of it. So Shai's purple now, and I just pick out all the scales at the back. I still haven't glued on any of the gold pieces yet, because this is very important. I use corn red for the membranes in the fins. I forgot to name them. I then use Grift Hound Orange for the little crab pincer on the tip of the tail. It had some overspray already and it was mostly white, so it really was perfect for contrast paint. Kind of like Slap Chop. I glue on the side armor now. I really love it when a sub-assembly is getting built. I use Volupus. I can never say it correctly. I use this pink to paint over the wound and the skin flaps, and then I use a red shade to go over all the membranes. I use the same coal black over the leather parts as well on the armor, and also around the neck. I use Night Quester Flesh now, and I just edge highlight the muscle strands you can see, and also the skin that's stretched out. You just turn the brush on its side and it will pick out all the areas. And you can also glaze a little bit as well in the recesses. Now I use Cadian Flesh just to highlight the corners and the sharpest areas of this flesh, just to make it stand out more from all that purple and all the jewelry and the armor. It's not really the centerpiece of the model, but it really helps bring attention to it. I think these are the nerve endings exposed. And I use like a bronze color just to pick out these little clips and buckles. Don't forget these accessories. I love using 2 thin coats Trooper White for white areas. It's a great paint, goes on well, and I just painted the wing with that, and then I glued on the gold pauldrons. Then I use Rakelin Flesh Shade just to go over all the fleshy areas. I thinned it a little bit. I also used some in the recesses too here, just to add a bit more shadow, and because I've added a gloss varnish, it doesn't really dull down the bright parts as well. So non-oil is the next paint to use, and I go over all the leather parts. Sorry about the dirty part. It's Apothecary White from Citadel to contrast paint, and I go over the white feather, the wing, whatever you call it. I use this clear red to actually, I've diluted it a bit with water, and I just kind of glaze it over the muscles. It came out really well. Dreadful Visage, I use this for the hair. Sorry, not the hair, the face only. I was thinking to try it on the hair, but then it would look too similar to the face. So, yeah, I tried it on the flesh first. I've seen people use it for demonettes as well. Soul Blight Grey, I found this and I tried this on the hair. And it's good actually. You need a few coats though, it seems. But then if you have too many coats, it becomes too grey. So you just gotta be careful. Thin it in certain areas and just play around with it and make sure it doesn't pool. And then for the horns, it's pretty basic. I just add like black contrast paint on it. I use Blighted Gold and I just pick out all the horn tips. Now I use the airbrush with the titanium white ink from before, and I'm just spraying around the gorget and also the wing as well, and part of the inner shoulder pad pauldron. And then I spray from below, so I'm catching the chin and his neck, and the bottom of his nose and the bottom of the horns. This is preparing it for the OSL. Now I'm using a red ink. It's a fluorescent red, and I'm just going over all those areas that I sprayed white. I make it quite thick for the neck, the gorget, if that's its name, and then I just spray it from below, just like the white, on his chin, nose, and also pick out the shoulder pad too. There was some overspray, so I just start tidying up, because the OSL seemed a bit too strong, so I go over the wing now with white, and just to tone it down a bit and tidy up that overspray also. And you can also go over the gold areas as well if you need to touch it up. I use beta-siliconum, there we go, I said it. That's another paint I always struggle with. I go over the dark areas with this paint because it helps tone it down. And then I use Ironrack Skin to edge highlight the face, like the nose, the wrinkles in his forehead, his chin, his ears. You can even use Deepkin Flesh if you want to go even brighter. And then I basically just go over the weapons now. I use chrome gold. I use chrome over it, and it's the first time I've used it, to be honest. I just wanted to use it and see how chromey it really was, and I was quite surprised. It came out very chromey. Now I'm testing out the wings just to see how they fit. I haven't glued them on yet though. I used this Doomfire Magenta for the gems. So this is the backpack, the back part of the backpack. I've glued on the other parts. And then I glue, first off for the wings, I use Dreadful Visage again for the fleshy parts. And again, sorry for the messy part, Apothecary white for the cloth. I wanted to keep them white as well. And I also touch up the hair as well. So now I use Druchii Violet over the chrome weapon. And I put it on thick. I don't really thin it down. I might use a bit of water just to spread it around, but that's about it. Now those wings are dry. I glue them into the back part of the backpack. And then with deep violet ink that I used before, I just paint that into the membranes. It takes some time, but it flows very well. Just be very careful not to add too much, but don't add too little either, because you get all streaky lines. It takes time, it's a bit boring. If you don't have this, you can use a contrast paint, to be honest. And I use the black ink now, and I just spray the inside of those membranes. I'm actually making this up as I go along. Took a long time to think about it, but then I just couldn't make up my mind, so I just went for this. And I've glued on the wings now. The head fell off, so I glued the head back on. I use bronze or gold just to pick out these attachments. Trooper white again, but through an airbrush this time, because I used the contrast paint on it. I just pick out the raised areas of these robes, just to tidy them up a bit, and then I glue them on. Bit fiddly, to be honest. Make sure you use the instructions, because I struggled with it. I use just black paint to pick out the talons too. Airbrush tutorial for these NMM blades, energy blades, will be in the description or a link at the top of the video. So I use Evil Sun Scarlet on the gems. There's not too many gems, surprisingly, especially for a Slaanesh model. I just pick out them. And then when that dries, I use Spirit Stone Red. It's a technical paint. It's fantastic. And this is the completed model, ready for battle, or to sit on my cabinet and gather dust. Who knows the fate of Fulgrim? I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a pretty tricky model to build and paint because it was very sub-assembly heavy, but it was an interesting journey, and I hope you learned something from this video. Don't forget to let me know in the comments what you think about it, or if you have any questions, if I might have missed something out, or any requests as well for future videos. And leave a like as well, it really goes a long way. And if you're new, subscribe, and I'll be posting more videos in the future. So, thank you very much everyone, and have a nice day. Take care. Bye.